We are just about to start with our next speakers. This is going to be a very interesting fireside chat dedicated to a super new thing in the game monetization world, which is in-game advertising. Hey guys, hey Itamar, hey Adrienne.
Hey Igor, how are you?
I'm fine, how are
Hi.
you? Hi Adrienne.
Hi, Igor. Hi, Itamar.
So
Hey, Adrienne.
we are very excited to your fireside chat. This is something brand new. We haven't been speaking about the in-game advertising with game developers yet. So it's going to be very interesting to listen to you. How did you implement this practice? What are the benefits? So over to you right now.
Thank you, Igor, and thank you for hosting us. And super excited to be here with Adrienne and White Knight Summer 20. First, before we start, how are you, Adrienne?
I'm fine, very fine. Thank you. And you?
I'm great. I have, nothing can be here better. And I really like your background picture. I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So before we start, maybe like quick background. So hi, everyone. I'm Itamar Benedy, the CEO and co-founder of Anzu, the leading company for programmatic in-game advertising. And here with me, Adrienne from Ubisoft Nadeo with the hit game Trackmania. In this session, we will explore what is in-game advertising, how Ubisoft and Trackmania take advantage of this concept. That is basically for 30 years, companies are trying to crack in-game advertising, but there's some very strong signals in the market that now this is time finally for this to happen. So before jump into all these details, maybe Adrienne, you can give us a bit of background about what is Trackmania, what is the game about, and whatever you want to tell the audience. I heard people are very excited about the esport part of it.
Yeah.
So please.
Sure. So for those who do not know, Trackmania is the online multiplayer racing game that is really powered by the players. And I mean powered by the players because since the beginning of Trackmania in 2003, the creativity has been at the core of the game. So with very powerful tools allowing players to create their own tracks, their own skins or their videos and to share them with others. So it's really every day you connect in Trackmania, you have something new. Creativity is one pillar of Trackmania. And with the new Trackmania, we will talk about, is the fact that we are going further because in Trackmania, there are many ways to play. And so there are many communities, and we are trying to help communities to gather in the game with their creation around clubs. So this is the new club feature where players will be able to gather, create and share their exclusive and unique content, but also activities such as rooms or campaigns, specific campaigns, competitions, and so on. And like you said, the second pillar of Trackmania, this is why Trackmania is also very loved. It's the esports side, but it's the competition side. So for those who do not know, Trackmania has been on the esport field since 2006 and present in major esport events. And the new thing we are trying to do now is really to welcome more and more people in the esport and not to focus or to address it just for the esport pro gamers or just for the core gaming industry. So we want to be really inclusive and mainstream. So that's why in the game you can find different levels of competitions. So you have competitions for players who want to play, on a regular basis, but with not a lot of time. So it can be casual daily competitions, but you can also find very engaging competitions like the Open Grand League, which lead the players to the Trackmania Grand League, which is the top level competition in Trackmania that gathers the 16 best worldwide players. And so creation and esport competition, I would say, are the two fundamentals of Trackmania, the racing, and racing, of course, at the beginning.
Thank you, Adrienne. So if someone didn't yet try the game, I highly recommend. I'm not a gamer myself for many years, but Trackmania, even for people that are not really professionals, there's a way, like an easy way to start and play the game. So recommended. So thank you, Adrienne, for the
very easy to play even for non-gamers with just 4 keys. Yeah, it's a good point. Accessibility is key in Trackmania.
Yeah, so thank you for the contest. And now let's dive a bit deeper to speak about business model and monetization. And maybe I'll give a quick background, like as how we and Anzu saw it before we go into all the details here. So when we looked at the gaming landscape, we saw a perfect environment for brands. So there is 2.7 billion people that basically play at least one game a month. That's 86% of the people connected to the internet. But also the gaming environment, it's not only about the user base, it's for how much time each session is, and like the engagement level, and also like how much branding fits perfect this world with basically a very brand safe environment, a 3D world, a very rich graphics environment that basically we can clone real world experiences. And basically what we did in Anzu and what we're doing in the last 4 or 5 years, really building the technology to make it accessible and affordable. So in-game advertising is about non-intrusive, authentic native advertising and basically monetizing game objects with branded content, exactly how we consume content in the real world. So maybe Adrienne, like a question for you after we gave a big overview of in-game advertising, like, is this the first time that you're trying in-game advertising? And maybe you can speak a bit about your experience in this space.
Yeah. So no, it's not the first time. We started in-game advertising in 2007. And it was a new thing for us at that time because we were launching the first free game on Trackmania. And we thought that it would be good to, of course, secure a minimum of revenues in order to maintain our free game. So that's how we started in 2007. And then it stopped. And then we met you. And we thought that, the opportunity was great to come back with the in-game advertising again in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically the concept of in-game advertising, as I mentioned, is not a new concept. Great companies like Massive, Double Fusion, IGA tried to crack this a decade ago. And our interpretation is that it was a great concept, a bit too early to market, for a lot of reasons. From there was no programmatic advertising and there was no connectivity in the devices, and also like the advertising standards around media value and ad viewability and verification wasn't in place. And there was more reasons. Like, I can speak hours about this. Trust me, ping me later if you want to speak more about this. But maybe Adrienne, a question for you, like, what was maybe the reason or the main reasons from your side why you thought that now you want to give another shot to in-game advertising, and now why in-game advertising, in your opinion, should now get basically another chance after trying and not really maximizing the opportunity or the expectations that you were expecting like a decade ago?
Yeah, I think why it was the thing to meet with you and to see that we were able, to create new opportunities to innovate and see how we can gather in the video game the brands and the players and the game itself. So it was at Nadeo, we are very innovative. We have the game, but we also do esport and competition. We also work on shows like the one we have with Derator in France, for example. And we also like to work on the different game modes, different formats. And so sometimes it's free, sometimes it's not free, sometimes, and so the in-game advertising is a good way, to secure new revenues, but also to bring new things, to bring new stuff to the players, new environment.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the players in the community, and I think this is maybe an important topic to speak a bit about more. Obviously, for AAA games and for high-end studios like your own studio, respecting the gamer, respecting the gameplay is a very crucial point of implementing in general business model, and for sure when we're speaking about advertising. Maybe you can tell us a bit about like what's the reaction from the community. Maybe we can speak about some streamers like Trilux and their experience, or like how do you see maybe that, because I guess for a lot of developers how the community will accept it is a very important topic to understand.
It's key, actually, because if the community or the players do not accept the advertising, then there is many chance that they do not play your game. So, of course, for us, it's very important. And we have worked in order to have these advertisings very well integrated into the game, so that it doesn't damage the player's experience. And so far, what we can notice in the community is that there is no complaint. So the experience is good for them. And it's even more than good because it enhances the experience in the way that it gives more immersion. When you play Trackmania, you are in a stadium. And in real life, you are very used to see brands in your sportive environment. You know, you have brands all around a soccer stadium, for example, or when you are on a tennis court or that kind of thing. So we are used to that. And so it participates in the good immersion, in the sort of realism in the game.
Yeah. And I mean, I can add there is a research by Comscore, one of the leading basically research companies in the world, around the fact that people prefer real brands versus fake ads, basically in the game. And maybe my point around this is that, you know, like as I said before, gaming, you know, is like on theory a perfect placement for brands. But in the past there was like this misconception of brands seeing gamers as geeks locked in their basement. And I think there is a huge change even before COVID, but of course also COVID helped in the sense of like gaming is a pop culture. You know, every brand wants to be part of this, which of course helps to make this a bigger business. And I even saw some very positive feedback on Reddit around some of the campaigns with Vodafone and American Eagle. So we have some references in that as well. Another interesting topic that a lot of the developers, I'm pretty sure, are curious to understand is about like the integration process. Because I mean, one thing is like, you know, is this a business model I can trust on from a revenue perspective? The second thing, as we said, maybe the most important is how the community accept it. But maybe number three is like, how easy is the integration? How much times it take? Because this can be another factor, mainly for smaller studios that don't have all the resources in that basically that you have. So maybe you can speak a bit about that.
Yeah. So from my understanding, the integration of the Enzu technology was pretty seamless and very fast. I asked Damien, that you may know, and it took something like maybe 2 weeks to integrate the technology. So it went very well. So it works good. And maybe if I can give 2 tips to the developers who are listening to us, is that if you work with your own game engine, your homemade game engine, maybe you have to think about taking some time to develop some system, you know, to display the images in your world, and process of also, and all the and measure all the visibility of the images. Because I think, Itamar, that you have already worked on pre-worked developments for Unity or for existing engines used worldwide. But for homemade engine, you have to think about that, of working on that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and thank you for the compliment. So just to make sure everyone knows, so basically Anzu supports all the gaming platform from a console, and we're the only company in the world supporting console, the only partner of Xbox for advertising, as well as PC, mobile, cloud gaming, but also all the different game engines, of course, with Unity, Unreal, Lumberyard, a CryEngine. It's maybe there's a standard engine, but companies with their own game engine, like with Trackmania, and there is a bit more basically understanding of the engine and how to integrate it. And maybe kudos to your team. Like from what I heard from our engineering team, your team really knew exactly what they were looking for and how to do it, so it made the integration much smoother. Some other games, it takes a bit of more time until they even understand what they want to do. So maybe also I would mention that. Let's speak about like a bit about the business model. I mean, we touched a bit about it, that brands are now more interested in advertising in games, and with the Anzu platform now it's very accessible and affordable. From every DSP and media buying platform, you can access basically this exclusive inventory, and we support all the different ad formats, banners and videos and custom ads, so it's easy to run a campaign. And the second point is how we give confidence around the media value with ad viewability, ad verification, and there's a lot of other ad tech vendors around fraud detection and audience verification and data management and brand lift. And again, I can speak about these things for hours, so ping me later if you want to hear more. But maybe like a bit of how do you see like this business model, like how much are you relying on it, or what's like your expectations from it? I remember like a decade ago in the Massive days, Massive is an in-game advertising company that was acquired by Microsoft for around $250 million. Their plans was that in-game advertising should be 10% of top-line revenues for console and PC games globally. Of course, it was a long time ago, and the gaming industry was like X15 smaller, but maybe a bit of like is in-game advertising like a nice revenue on top, or is in-game advertising something to really rely on, and or maybe it's still early to know that, but like a bit about like what's your expectations from this business model?
I would say that well, in our case, we do not count only on the revenues coming from the in-game ads. We also offer the games with paid access, and we are okay with that. And for the future, what I see, my point of view, is that today, I think the possibility with the in-game ads is huge, because today we are thinking a lot about the players. So all the revenues are based on the number of impressions. So when the players see the ads, but now when we talk about competitions or when we talk about shows, we have also to take into account all the spectators. And for me, so we have also maybe to improve. I don't know how we can count all the spectators that have seen, the ads at that moment on the stream, in the game. But I think it will be it will grow from today and day after day. But in our case, we do both the in-game advertising revenues plus the more traditional revenue, in-game revenues.
Yeah, and like in general, what we see, like on console and PC games, like a subscription model or a prepaid model or a one-off to unleash special skins are very common. Combined with in-game advertising, and in mobile games, we see more of like the classical banners and videos, and then in-game advertising is something complementary to basically be able to monetize more placements of the game. So, and of course, there's in between a lot of different options. And as a trend, we see more and more games moving to be free to play, and like moving from the prepaid model of buying a disc for $20 to $60. So of course, in-game advertising can support that. We still need to finish. I kept the two questions I was most interested in to the end, so we have something to wait for. One of them is more like a cool question. Maybe you can give us a bit of like 3 brands you're excited about the most, and like now with everyone hearing us, I have a challenge to bring those brands to the game.
Okay, so that would be very great to have one car brand. I think we would like it, but it should be easy. No, I don't know.
One car brand. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's very easy, low level. And then we would be very happy to have a brand that defends the planet. We are very engaged at Nadeo. And for example, the car in Trackmania is electric. And so that would be great, to defend the good values and the good thing we can do to protect our planet.
Interesting. And we can combine these 2 points together. A car manufacturer company that protects the planet.
Exactly. And maybe a third one would be, a sportive brand or a technology brand also. Yeah.
First, sure thing, challenge accepted. I was preparing myself for very niche, unique brands, but for sure we can work with those challenges. And maybe because you're based in France, and France brands are very known for luxury brands, and now luxury brands are really getting into the gaming space. Maybe that can be another one for the list. And I'm not only saying that because last week I was pitching a luxury brand your game. It's not because of that.
No, I saw the brand, and it's great. Yeah. All the brands, we are okay with all kind of brands except the ones that are not adaptable or that are not okay with the youth, because our game is rated 3+ or USK 0. So it means that we really need to be careful with them, with the young people, with the young players. So no drug, no cigarettes, no alcohol, all that kind of things, of course. Otherwise, luxury, like you said, is cool. Mainstream. It's Eagle Jeans was great. Vodafone is great. Yeah.
Sounds good. Do noted. So last question, because we'll need to finish soon. Maybe some misconceptions about the industry, or maybe like a fun fact, or maybe something that like you think game developers will be interested to hear from your experience, maybe in the past or now, or
So
what do you say?
We were talking about that with Florent, and we were thinking that maybe there can be a misunderstanding or a threat that the in-game advertising can be a that players maybe won't love the advertising in the game. And actually, if we do it well, then it can work very well, and even more. Developers and players can both be happy with the advertising in game, like we all accept the advertising on the internet, especially when it's advertising for our games or for things that we love and things like that. So I would say that be confident. Be confident. Yeah.
Yeah. And my opinion is that people don't hate ads, people hate bad ads, right? So if the ad is intrusive and annoying, then people will not accept it, and then people can use ad blockers, and it can get to a place that Forbes.com, the website, will block people with ad blockers because they don't like the ads, and basically instead of having like a win-win-win of authentic ads, having like lose, and everyone really losing from it, because like the end user cannot consume the content, the publisher cannot show his content, and the ad tech vendor basically cannot be part of the process. So that's at least what we are guided with. So we are soon we'll need to finish. Adrienne, like I enjoyed it. It for me it felt like it was like a 2-minute session. I can continue until tomorrow morning if you want to continue here. And so first, just to everyone, thank you for listening. Adrienne and myself will be available. You can find us in a LinkedIn or in the tool in the basically of the event, and we'll be happy to speak more about if we can help you with in-game advertising and monetization of your game, and if Adrienne can help you with how to become a better player at Trackmania, or about her esport activity, or about like her experience as a veteran in the space. And so thank you very much, and hopefully we speak again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Itamar and Adrienne. This was very interesting to listen to, because I myself, I was studying advertising in the university, and right now it's very interesting how we develop brand new formats of advertising, brand new places where we can advertise brands, and that's fantastic. So
yeah,
very interesting thing which is asked, like in this case you are using Trackmania, which is a sports game, for placing an ad. And this is very natural for some sports activities to have advertising embedded. Like, for example, we are all used to banners on soccer fields. We know that boxer trousers were specially made longer to allow people place more advertising on that.
Yeah.
But what about some other genres? What's the room for advertising in, for example, a shooter game, like first person shooter, or maybe like some action game, like, I don't know, like Assassin's Creed? Is there any room for advertising there? And if yes, would it be effective in the same way? Because for example, in Trackmania, you write the circles and you see the ad multiple times. For example, in an open world game, you can see it only once. So how can you comment on that?
Sure. So, I mean, I can start, and Adrienne, you can maybe continue. So, I mean, like the way we see it is that it's all about two things. From a game developer perspective, can we find ways to implement advertisements that will be very authentic and native? So, for example, with fantasy games, in some cases, it can be a bit more complicated, but in most of the game genres, we find good ways to basically how to implement it. And it's also about being creative and being open-minded. And we have a team dedicated with helping with those things. So that's from a game developer perspective of, does the ad experience make sense, right? Second is from a brand perspective. And of course, if we like a very, very violent game, maybe some brands will be concerned about. But there is a huge change in perception from, we call it from brand safety to brand suitability. In the past, shooter games will be seen as very, violent. Today, shooter games are part of the phenomena, are part of the culture. And this is doing a huge shift around making much more games relevant for brands. And I think Fortnite is one company that did a really good education of taking a shooter game, but making it very, adapted for children, educating brand that this is very safe. But even let's go to games like Call of Duty. Today, PepsiCo is one of the big sponsors in those games. A few years before, PepsiCo would never imagine they would sponsor a game that is a bit more violent than what they were basically being looking in the past. And this is part of how this is changing, because if you think about it, teenagers across all the world are playing those games. So it maybe can be seen for, from our standards, but this is common and this is basically very adapted. So it's about brand suitability on the one side, and some brands are maybe a bit more cautious, and some brands are more, looking for new and unique and basically to do different. And the second aspect is, can we make it authentic? And in most game genres, we find a way to do that. And we have a lot of tools we developed in the platform to basically help to make the branded content observe the environment of the game and to be seen as part of the game world and not something isolated or foreign. So this is my 2 cents about this topic.
Yeah, thank you very much, Itamar. That's a great opinion, and that's great to know. So I believe we really have to wrap it up. We have a few questions on the platform itself, on WN Hub. So if you have a few minutes, please go answer that and spend some time talking with people in the chats. It's going to be so great. Thanks once again for coming, guys.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you.
Great to see you again.
Thank you, Itamar. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.